Hello, Anthony. Tell us more about today's activities.
Absolutely. So we're here right downtown in Washington, D.C. at the Carnegie International Center for Endowment for Peace, where a group of experts and analysts are now meeting to discuss the U.S.-Africa foreign policy angles. Really the main theme here, though, is a compendium which was just published by the Carnegie Center, really compiling a U.S. perspective, really a holistic policy evaluation of U.S. foreign investment, U.S. diplomatic missions, really a U.S. foreign policy a lexicon of their decisions so far.
And how are the experts looking to address U.S. foreign policy toward the continent of Africa?
Absolutely. So the compendium really lists 12 key objectives, really listing out foreign direct investment from the United States, diplomatic missions, U.S. relationships with other countries that are also competing on the African continent, how Africans view the United States and the United States objectives so far. Really a lot of good points. Really a couple of key points that really have stood out to me that the experts have recommended in this compendium are that the U.S. should reestablish their diplomatic missions in Western Africa. You know, we remember the troops being pulled out of Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso. Really kind of a dramatic picture of U.S. really being kicked out of that area. But this argues that really the United States should take a greater role, really reinvesting itself, really demonstrating that the U.S. can make a great case for foreign direct investment for a lot of other initiatives that it was doing before it left. Another key point here, too, was the minerals investment. The U.S., according to this, is also one of the biggest investors of mineral investment, of mineral extraction in West Africa and throughout the entire continent. And so really what can the United States do to help these countries better achieve their energy goals, better form their mineral goals, and how in turn can these countries also help the United States really create a beneficial trade bloc for them as well?
Anthony, we know that there have been a bit of concern from African leaders as well, wondering how the relationship is going to be like between the new administration of President Trump and the continent. What are you hearing from African leaders attending this event or other experts there on what they expect moving forward?
Absolutely. So actually, we had the pleasure of listening to the Madagascar ambassador pose a question to one of the panels here a little bit earlier. She was wondering really, where can the U.S. Find, I guess, greater involvement? Where can it really brand itself to be a standout foreign direct investor in her country in particular? Really, the main takeaways from this compendium have been that African leaders are interested in having further engagement with the United States. They'd like to see further diplomatic missions, more things like the LaBruto corridor, really invest in other key regions of the continent that can bring a lot more economic activity to hubs as opposed to just not random but necessarily targeted or isolated investments in particular countries, particular regions. A little bit more holistic development, re-upping things like AGOA, expanding things like AGOA to where greater goods can be transferred between the United States and Africa. Really overall that there is willingness from African leaders to have a greater dialogue with the United States, and that there is a willingness really from the continent that they would like to see. Really an interesting point, though, again from the compendium, is that Africans and African leaders have one of the highest favorability ratings of foreign direct investment from the United States. And so not only is that the foreign direct investment, but that's also the way in which they do it, through USAID and through really these partnerships rather than almost kind of a steamrolling over of infrastructure, of existing things, of existing agreements. Really that the fact that the United States is willing to sit down, listen to African leaders, and present funding in a way that would be agreeable to what's already on the books in really an interesting way.